Where is this change available? In the working directory, correct? Initially, you put any change, it will be there in the working directory. So I hope you got the points. So any change you want to undo when it is in the working copy, use a command called as checkout. Did you get the point, guys? Git checkout. So now you need to recollect. Checkout is used for different scenarios. We used checkout and the branch name, which will switch the branch. We used checkout with commit ID, which will take you to the history. And you can use checkout with respect to file also. What is the file we modified? Services page. This is the unwanted change we have. So we want to take away this unwanted change. Git checkout dash dash. Sorry. What is the file name? Services page. That's where we wrote this unwanted change. Check Git status. It's clean once again. Do you see unwanted change? It's gone. Did you get the point is what I'm trying to do? I added unwanted change. I didn't need it. I said check out the file name. That unwanted change which was there in the working directory, it got away. So that's how you need to undo in the working directory. If it is in the staging, same concept. Let me show you. Everything looks clean. I'm going to get into my file. I'll add some unwanted change once again. Currently, which area it is in? Working. Now I'm going to take it to the next level. Add the file. Green color indicates what? It's in the staging. You want to unstage it. That's the command. Did you get the point, guys? Now you got two choices. Either you get back or you move forward. Clear, right? Now same thing. Yes, I don't want it to be in the staging. Again, I want to undo it. File name. What it is saying? Unstaged. That is, I hope you got the point. Now it went and it unstaged the changes. How? It's red, meaning it's back to staging. Clear, right? And if you don't want this also, you can directly go and what do you say? Again, check out the file. You should be able to get it. This is one use case. Or another use case is what? You might commit it. Another choice is you'll commit it. Once I do commit, what will happen? Can it show anything on status? Nothing. Why? Because it's a finalized change. We have this unwanted change, correct? But if I want to undo this, meaning you can undo in working copy, staging copy, local copy. Got the point is? Now exact same approach. So I don't want this unwanted change to be present. Did you get the point is? So now our unwanted change is with this commit ID. Now I don't want this commit. Yes, you can go to detach head and do all that work, but instead, if it is an immediate change, right, you have been given a direct command. See, we know this change is responsible for adding our part, right? Like what? Cat service page. But I'll copy this ID, which is 8316180. That ID is pointing to this change. Git revert. Are you getting the point, guys? So this particular ID is pointing to this particular change. Now I'm saying revert that. It's asking, do you want to revert this? Yes, definitely. Colon WQ. Meaning this should no longer be available. Why? Because that is the change that we added in the unwanted committed. Do you find it now? It was taken off. That's how you need to undo it in this particular place. Clear, guys? So you can do it in working copy, in the history, in the staging, in the local, whatever, wherever you wish. That's how you can work with undoing pattern. Clear? I hope you got the point, guys. Right? Okay. Now, these were some of the notable features that you guys need to be having awareness when it comes to Git patch. Right. Now, the important thing here is whenever you start, doing the operations from the Git perspective, right? These are not the only things. In the future, you will see some more new features as we go and discuss with respect to different aspects. But now, with the current knowledge we have, we are pretty much sure how the changes are being done, where the changes are being done, by whom the changes are being done. That entire history is with us. Correct? Now the developer, they went, they wrote the code and they updated this particular piece of codes. Now, whenever this particular work is done, like what all the code implementation is done, right? I said they will update it to their particular GitHub part. Developers use a different approach. They'll use something called like IDs. They'll use IDs and they'll start writing the code base. I'll show you in the build part how am I going to do that. That's where I thought like it would be a better choice to show it. I said the next step, right? Once the developers they write the code, they need to do the build, right? At that point of time, I'll go with that particular approach. Now, today what I want to discuss is, I want to discuss the concept called as build. So now imagine coding is done. Code was updated. Where is the code available? In the GitHub repository. You know how to fetch the code now. You know there is clone operation. You can get the clone and then you can start beginning with the things. Correct? Now, from what we learned in the part there. Okay, just a second. Let me open the picture which we drawn in the last part. Just a second. I'm opening your doc. So I'll update all these commands, everything what we did in your doc. Make sure you guys go and check that part.
Ravi, one small question.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, git commit, will the commit the all the files or else only modified files it will commit?
Only modified files. If you have multiple files, you can give the file name at the end.
Okay, at the end we need to give the file name also. Individual file we can give, right?
Correct. Yes, that's what we saw earlier the first time.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Right? Yes. Okay, just a second. Yes, let me update the doc once. I think it's been a long time.
Hi Ravi, I have a doubt.
Yeah, Rahul, go ahead.
While we are trying to push it to the remote from a branch, again we have to set upstream. It is asking for set upstream. Do we have to merge all the time with the base and again main and then?
I mean, like it depends upon your functionality, Rahul. Like I said, if the changes are required, we will merge it. If the changes are not required, it's not mandatory.
And then when you're trying to do with branch, again we have to set that branch as upstream and then again do it.
Correct. Yes. If not, when you do the clone, right, you need to specify -b branch name so that you don't need to repeat the same steps once again.
Okay. Thank you.
Right? Okay. Just a second. Okay, yes. I updated all the document till date. Let me open your doc. You see here, like all the architecture, how it goes, right? You remember that SDLC part we discussed in the last, when we were beginning with the things. Now we are in this part. So our developers, they wrote the code, and where they will update the code at the end of the day, like I mentioned, these guys are going to update the code into the GitHub part, correct? This way all the code will be updated. Then later next the build process, testing process, one by one, all the processes begin to begin. Now coming to the Git, you see Git architecture, how it goes, what is working area, staging area, repository, you got the commands, how the Git workflow goes, what are all the commands, so what is staging area, what commands you use, everything is updated in this document. So make sure in this weekend you go ahead and check out all the things, how you can install the Git, right? You got all the options you need. What is branching, how to create new branch, right? How you do the merging. You got all the access that you could, how to generate the personal access token in order to update the changes, merge conflicts, how you worked with the detached head, undoing part, GitHub part, you see which command, checkout command, reset command, revert command, you got all these things so that you can go ahead and start implementing the practice part on it, right? Okay. Now with this, what basically happened is our development team, they wrote the application code and they made it available where in our repository. Next step is from that particular repository, we need to fetch the code. And you guys already know how to fetch the code. You can use the clone command and fetch the code. Then next, there is a process called as building the application. Now, what is this build process and why we need to build the part? Today, I'll give you the explanation, how it basically goes and works. Maybe in the next session, we will start doing the implementation, right? At that point of time, I'll show you how developers actually generate the application code and get started. Okay, right. Now the first thing. You need to understand the process called as build management. Simple and straightforward thing is. In software development process, build is the process of converting source code into a standalone software artifact that can run on a computer. Developers, whatever the code they wrote, right? It's called as source code. But that source code is not meant for machines to execute. We need to convert that source code into a format where machines can understand. So this includes compiling the code, linking the files together, getting the executable format or binary format of your application. If you want to do that, then we need to go and work with something called like software build. It's just a process, guys. Like I already said, source code management is the process and version controlling is the process where we use the tools called Git and GitHub. Exactly same way, whenever you want to do the conversion of what? Source code into executable code, you will go with the process called build. And in order to understand this, we are going to do exactly same procedure. We'll take some particular source code, how they will generate it, and how they are going to convert that into executable format, we'll see it. Did you get the point, guys? Right? Okay. Now, whenever we are going and implementing this build process, right? First thing, like I said, we need to get the application code. And like I said, what? It might be there with respect to your GitHub account, some repository. Any particular app you have, you'll take that app and you'll start doing the build. Now, when you start working with the build process, there are some basic things that you need to be aware. What are all the things that are going to be involved in the build process? Okay, right. So first thing, guys, build is process, meaning what? It is common for anything. Source code management is a process, right? Version controlling is a process. You can implement for HTML code, TXT file, Java file, PHP file, right? Exactly same way. Build can also be done for anything based upon the technology stack. So any technology, when you go through the build process, right, you need to keep it in mind. There is something called like metadata file. Okay, so you have something called like metadata file. Apart from this metadata file, just a second. You will have your source code. You will have some kind of testing code also, which is used in the next part, but I'll not keep anything related to testing, but obviously you'll have the testing code as well. And then you will have your binary codes. These are the things that will be involved in any kind of what you say is app there, right? Okay. Now, what is metadata file? Metadata files basically they indicate that you are trying to go and work with project information. What is the name of your project? What is the version of your project, right? What are the dependencies for your project? So all that sort of information would be made available in something called like metadata file. Getting the point, yes? So just remember, or if not, let me show the file itself. There is a file called POM file, POM. It's an acronym for Project Object Model. It says this file, what it contains? Information of project and configuration to build the project, such as dependencies, build directory, source directory, testing things, all those sort of. Are you getting the point? Is now an example. What version, what is the name, which version of the app you are using. Like this, you will have metadata files. This metadata file, what I am showing you right now, it is specific to technology called Java. Okay, this metadata file belongs to Java based applications. But do you think Java is the only technology? No, right? There are other things. A package.json file. It lists the what do you say, packages your project depends upon, meaning basically project dependencies, specific versions of your project, build reproducible, like build related things would be available here. That's what he's trying to convey. This one what is little bit different. You see this package.json, almost same, name, some description, version, some sort of scripts, dependencies, all that sort of information is going to be available in such file. So when we start working with build, you will definitely have a metadata file in your project. Who will create it? As a developers, I am responsible for that. You guys don't need to worry about from the DevOps point of view, what is this thing, but it should be there. Got the point is, I'll show you an example. Once we start practically going with the things, if we don't have metadata file, things will fail. Okay. So here another example, what I said the file name is this is required for JavaScript based projects. Got the point is, so if I'm working with Java, it is called pom.xml. If I'm working with JavaScript, it's called as package.json. These are the metadata files. Along with that, you will have what? Your source code of the project. And now what is the source code? Like I already said, the code that is being done by your developers. You see this? This is how some Java code looks like. This code is called as source code. But if I give this call and say execute means, it might be a lot of confusing for people who are not from this particular background. Correct? Java developer might know it, what this code does, but a normal end user will never understand it. So we need to convert it into a format where my end user can easily understand it, and especially my machine should be able to interpret it. Do you know, like machine knows like what is class, what is main? Of course, it does not know anything. Machine knows only zeros and ones. Binary. Now I need to convert this into zeros and ones, basically binary format. At that point of time, I said we'll use the build. Correct? Now this source code will be again specific to technology. JavaScript related files, and what you say your source part, source related files. Do you get it? Exactly same way. Once this conversion is done, you take the source code and you go and convert into binary code, right? That binary code will be placed in the binary code section. Depends. If it is Java, we will have something called like target. If it is JavaScript, we have something called like build, or sometimes dist. Did you get the point, guys, everyone? So using this particular approach, we can go ahead and we can solve the things actually. Now, in order to understand the build process, you need to know there is metadata file, source code file, binary code. So binary code, like these are completely dynamic. Based upon the technology you are implementing in your organization, these things are going to function. Clear? Yes, I hope everyone got the point now. So build is just taking your source code from your developer and then start converting that into binary code. Good? Clear, guys, everyone? All good? Okay. Any questions from online? Yes, let me know on this part. I think I have, yeah.
Hi, Ravi.
Hello, yeah, go ahead.
So we have it these files
Sorry, Govind, we cannot hear your voice. Not sure, his voice is not audible. Maybe you can keep your question in the chat window. Okay, right. Okay, guys. Now let's see how we get these things in the first place. So when we get a project, how all these things would be there, and this is result part. So this will be given to you. Outcome of this is this part. Getting the point is? So this will be given by your development team. This is what the outcome of build is. Getting the point? So when I say git clone, I'm going to get this kind of information. When I complete the build, then this would be the result. Getting the point is? Right. Now let's see how we are going to fetch some code from the development team, and then we'll start going through the build process one by one. And like I already said here, especially guys, I'm going to show you the examples with respect to some Java based applications so that you'll easily get it. And like I already said, I'll not touch anything on practical part today. On Monday, we'll get started with the practical. Today, I'll just complete the theory part and I'll leave it there so that on Monday, we'll start getting with the practical approach. Now, I said this is the process, but there also for version controlling, I said process, there are commands, correct? How you go ahead and stage a file? You'll say git add command. How you commit a file? You'll say git commit command. How do you check the log? Git log command. How you undo it? You use git checkout command. You can use git reset command. You can use git revert command. Same way. Now, in order to convert this part, like what? Converting the source code into executable code, generally we need to follow the process. Documentations would be there based upon what? Which technology you are working. I'm going to start working with Java based application. Why? Because a lot of people like who are might be into IT or non-IT, right? Definitely one or the other way they'll touch some kind of Java code in their life. So I'm just going with the same approach. I'm thinking, so I'm a Java developer. I written some particular piece of code. I want to build it, right? Now you observe from the DevOps point of view, how am I going to do it? Are you getting the point? Is now for that, as a Java developer, I'll use some documentation given from the technology specification. Now, this is how the system works. When you clone it, you'll get all the code. Because of this git clone command, I got one directory called Java project. When I go into this particular project, right, I'll see few list of things. Now I did clone, meaning what? It was already available. But as a Java developer, someone needs to implement it, right? So before I clone, meaning what? From the DevOps point of view, cloning. From the developer point of view, he needs to create a repository first, right? How he is going to do that is, I'll show you. Simple and straightforward. Why am I talking about Maven? Let me explain you. What is this Maven in the first place? You see what it is saying? Did you get the point? Is Maven is a build tool, right? And it's primarily used for what? Java project. What project I was discussing? I hope you got the point. In order to build a Java project, the tool name is Maven. Clear? I hope everyone got the point. Right. Now, what it means, just read this. It says you must understand how to install the software on your computer. You know it already. You can use yum, you can use RPM commands, you can use wget commands, download. You're already aware of it. If you don't know, then it says just ask someone at your school or pay someone to explain you that part. So I'm not worried about this part. I already know how to do the installation. Then it says Maven is a Java tool. So you must have Java installed. Can we install it with the knowledge we have? Of course. You already know how package manager works. We'll do that next. Like I said, in the practical approach, we are going to implement all of this. So we are going to install Java, and then we are going to install Maven also. Once these softwares are installed and ready, what it is saying? Did you get the point? Is I'm going to create the project. Who? Not a DevOps person. I'm a Java developer. I'm going to create the Java project using what? This command. You get the point? When I run this command, I'm going to get a project. Then I'll version control it. Hope you're getting the points. Then I'll start writing the code as a typical developer and update that part. Then you see, this is how a typical project structure looks for Java. I did not create it, guys. This command gave it to me. This will give you a sample project to get started. I hope you got the logic. Then this is all the things that are going to be coming as a part of that thing. Form.xml, project metadata, source code directory. Result directory, you didn't see it. Why? Because we did not do the build. Once we do the build, then you'll see the result file. And it has some Java related files. Then you want to build the project, you go ahead and run this particular command. That's it. As a developer, I'll do it, guys. Now you as a DevOps engineer, you will try to retain that knowledge. So what I'm doing as a developer. Then in the future, you can exactly use the same set of commands every time for repeating the build. That's it. That's what build is. Simple. There is nothing much, guys. That's it. You go ahead, you get your source code from your development team. Once the source code is retrieved, you install all the things that are required. Then you go ahead and run certain commands. Your application will be built. I'll also show you what happens if there are failures. Okay. How to exactly know? We don't need to worry about that Java. Sai Kiran, like I already said, this is always the standard structure. Your developers are the ones who will go ahead and write the code. So as a DevOps person, you don't need to worry where the Java file and everything is. You need to get into the appropriate project and build the projects. Right? Why? Because it's not going to be one Java file. When you start working with the project, there will be 100 different Java files placed in different directories. I'm not worried about that. I just need to know there is something called like source directory. There will be something called like binary directory, and there will be metadata files. That's it. You go on your project, execute the commands given to you from the build team. So right now I'm showing you the documentation to make you explain, but in real time, what you need to sit with your developers, they will explain you how to go ahead with the build process. Or if not, you're already having project knowledge, like how that project works and all that part, then you can go ahead and start going with the implementation. Clear, guys, everyone? All good? Any questions on that part? Yes, build process.
Hi, Ravi.
Go ahead, yes.
So what is the form XML build works in the process of build?
Simple. POM is already a predefined notation for Maven based projects. So whenever you generate a project, you will automatically get pom.xml. It will basically have the name version. That's it, literally to say.
Okay. If we have a project having a lot of, metadata, like images and and also have jar files like this, these all will be converted in to the Java files in the build process, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Right. And further, we need to know how we are going to do it from the command line.
Okay. Okay.
Right? Yes. Okay. Right. Clear guys now? So we have build process. In order to go ahead with the build, you make sure you get the code, get into the project directory, then start doing what? This will start going through the build process. If everything is correct, meaning what? Whatever the developer wrote the code, all those things are working fine, right? Then you see, it says like this, you'll get a message. Means it's good. If it is a failure, it will directly say build failure. That's all. If it failed, you need to repeat the process once again. Developer will write the new code. Again, he'll go ahead and start updating the changes. He'll build it. Then again, it gets passed fine. If it gets failed, again, repeat the procedure. Getting the point is right. Let's see. Build process is the part of DevOps engineers work. Developers will do it, Vinod, but like I said, in the future, you need to do it. Developers will do it in their local machines, and DevOps engineers will do it in the infrastructure servers. That's the main difference. Yes, you guys need to be aware of the build part, but not from the developer machine, but from the infrastructure point of view. That's the reason why we are seeing all the CLI modes. Okay, right. Perfect, guys. So this is what I wanted to go with. So not much, just the basic information you need for that's all now. So you go ahead and you run the MVN package, then you will get a directory called target. This is where your artifacts will be stored. Artifacts are nothing but results. Your build results will be available in this location. With that, our build process is done. Now this is for what technology? Correct. So all I mentioned, right? This entire process is for Java-based applications. Now, if you have a JavaScript-based project, of course you can't do this. Will you repeat exactly same process? Never. Every project has its own way of going with the build that will be updated by your development team. Follow with it. Clear is? So I'll show you one example, maybe in the JavaScript also. There your commands will be completely different. You'll not use Java, Maven, this part. They have their JavaScript, they have their own set of tools that we need to go ahead and check from the JavaScript. Like this, for every technology, build process will be different. We need to figure that out. And it's not possible like every technology go and check it. Once you get into the organization, once you start working on the project, you'll obviously know all these steps. Right? Okay. Good, yes, fine. Yep. Any other further questions? Yes. All right. Okay. Fine. Yes. I'll not go much deep down. Why? Because now you got to know the process. I need to show it in the practical part, right? So in the next session, I'll go ahead and I'll show it in the practical approach. In the meanwhile, this weekend, make sure you cover all those Git concepts. Now you got lots of commands and all those parts, right? Just go ahead, check them out and start doing some particular repository creation by yourself. Just go ahead, initialize the repository, start adding some files there and go and do the version control and practice all the Git commands, right? Once you're good with that part, then we will go ahead and start working with respect to our, build process in the next session. Okay, right. So make sure it's like I already said, you have all the documentation now you need in order to go with that part, right? So make sure that you check out all these concepts. In the next session, I'll start practically going with the build. So next onwards, all are practical approach only, guys. Most of the sessions like build, test, release, deploy, etc. Right? One by one step. Now we'll be going with all those. All right. Okay. Chalo. Fine, guys. Then I'll not take long session today. We'll stop the session for today, right? So see you then.
Hi, Ravi.
Go ahead. Yes.
Can we rename the branch what we created previously?
You can rename, no problem. There is a command called git mv.
Okay.
Yeah, you can use, so you can easily search it. So right now you see, you just asked that, you can directly check it. Rename branch git. Sorry, not mv, it is m. You see, that's it. Git branch -m, then you can say old name and new name. Like how you rename the file, same aspects.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Ravi, Sandeep here, one small doubt.
Yes, Sandeep.
This Maven is based on Java-based technology, right? Is there any common tool which is based for all the technologies like C++, Python?
Of course. Do you think like C syntax will work in Python or Python syntax will work with Java? No, right?
No.
Same concept.
Like Maven, we are especially using for Java based. So what my question is that, is there any tool, something like Maven, which is common for all the technologies?
I said already, it's not possible. Syntactically, things are different, right? So you cannot have a universal tool which understands everything. These build tools are also specifically developed from technology's perspective. So they are always specific to technology.
Okay.
So that's why I said, if you're working with 20 different projects, based on that, you might go and work with 20 different set of instructions.
Right.
Right?
Right. Thanks.
All right. Okay. Chalo. Fine, isn't? See you. Let's catch up on Monday. We'll start beginning with the build process, right? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Ravi. Bye.
Chalo. See you. Bye.
Thank you.